Welcome back to GBGuns Armory, episode 10, and today, some of you might have guessed it, talking about the AK-74 and 545x39. If you're new to this series, and sorry for those guys that have already heard this a million times, my point with this series is to bring up firearms that aren't necessarily the hotness right now. They could be 3 months old, they could be 10 years old, but to remind us of the wonderful variety that's out there, and also to gain some knowledge and perspective from those of you who have tried some of the stuff that's been out there, because there's a lot of gems that are just kind of being forgotten while the media is too busy chasing the latest hotness. My other intent with this, and I don't think I've laid this out before, is let's become kind of a YouTube Reddit. Maybe not as wild, but my intent and thoughts here is a lot of these things, since they've been out for a while and people already know them, there's some good knowledge and experience out there that may be the same, may confirm, or may be different from the media reports on a lot of these things. And some of these firearms are being presented simply for the conversation points they bring up. Share with us in the comments your experience, knowledge, opinions. Preference it with that if you can. That way it doesn't quite get Reddit and we don't get people starting and following incorrect notions. But anyways, that's my intent. I want the comment section of this channel to be active. The main channel is facts and a presentation of what the firearm can and can't do, evaluated by an experienced shooter. This channel is where we can talk about the feels. So, the AK-74 and its wonderful cartridge, 545x39, the long skinny pill. As I understand it, after the US and NATO went 5.56 for a lightweight intermediate cartridge, kind of on the, I won't say weak, but on the smaller, lighter side of intermediate cartridges, the Soviets responded with their own 62 to 64 grain, going about 2,800 feet per second. Very similar concept. Lightweight bullet, lightweight ammo. Soldier can carry more ammo. The ammo is still effective against targets, and it became the mainstay caliber. 7.62x39 obviously still stayed around, but really they moved to this, and somehow the West didn't really catch on. We weren't really tracking that for a long time. Soviet Union falls, information finally starts to spread, a few of these rifles and this ammunition starts to make it to the US, but it never really caught on. And I'm curious as to why. I loved the caliber. I have a few rifles in this caliber. I used it in 3-gun and shot the snot out of on the weekends when surplus ammo was dirt cheap. It was quite often cheaper for me to shoot the AK-74 than it was for me to shoot my handgun. Now that surplus got banned, and of course now relations with Russia aren't that great, so that's gone. But other than some of these AKs and a few ARs chambered in the round, which were, from what I hear, unreliable, the caliber never caught on. For those of you unfamiliar or just wanting to see it, I'll give you a pass-by on this rifle. This is an Izhmash. It's a Russian-made AK-74. I have changed the furniture to this nice, beautiful furniture, put in a large charging handle on it. I shot the snot out of this rifle, not thinking it was ever going to gain any value, just getting it to shoot it. And then I have an Ace adapter on here. Double Star makes these, so Ace is one of their brands. An adapter to give me a folding triangular stock. So I have, and the US Palm grip as well on here. It was just for fun, because accessorizing, right? But essentially, if you're not familiar with the caliber, everything is pretty much the same as the standard AK-M that you know of. That's really something from the 40s. This is just from the 70s, and a smaller caliber. Lighter recoiling, super easy to shoot. It seems to be, at least in the 74s that I have, the whole overgassing thing is not a problem with these. You don't end up with a lot of bolt, trunnion, slam, so you get even less recoil there. It makes for very fast follow-up shots, loads of fun to shoot, and it's lighter weight, used to be less expensive ammo. So why didn't it catch on? Aside from Western ignorance, which is truly what it is, we didn't know. There was no excuse for that once these started showing up. The caliber is excellent. In fact, Military Arms Channel did a pretty cool video. I want to say it was like 10 or 11 years ago, shooting through trees with various calibers. And the 545 by 39 outperformed 308, 7.6239, and 5.56 in various ways. It was really impressive what those little poison bullets, as the Mujahideen called them, can do. So why didn't we ever get into it? Yes, ammo had to be surplus, however, not always. What you're looking at here is some Hornady 545 by 39. I have this stuff because when I 3-gunned with an AK-74, because yes I did, I quickly learned that bimetal jackets and steel core bullets, which is what the surplus stuff was, were not allowed at the ranges. The only non-bimetal, non-steel core 545 by 39 at the time that I could find was this Hornady stuff. The problem being, at the time, this was $1 a round, when the surplus stuff was 16 cents a round, or many people called it surplus, but the commercial stuff like this would be like 20 cents a round. That right there was proof that an American ammo loader was doing it and could do it. It didn't catch on. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as to why. I think GWAT might have played a role. The hero worship fame, everybody started LARPing and acting like they were in the military, except for real veterans, and all that kind of stuff that was huge, say 2013 to 2015, meant M4 style builds or Mark 18 clone builds and US military looking builds were cooler than AKs. I think that might have played a role. Plus, the AK was generally regarded as junk. I think there was a lot of probably correct for the time lore from surplus AKs and cheap builds that the AK was the trash gun that you bought to go shoot shit in the woods and not really take seriously. The Veprs, I think, could have changed that, but they cost $1,000 at the time when you could get a regular AK for $350 or $400. So very few people wanted to get a Vepr. And rifles like this Saiga proved to be excellent guns. So there were good examples out there, but it didn't catch on. Was it a cultural thing? Was it a supply thing? I know it's a supply thing now. I just watched Grantham's video on the AN-94, chambered in 5.45, and it brought back great memories of being able to go burn a case of ammo in the woods with my buddies on a Saturday, of a caliber that these days, man, there's that new stuff brought in from Central Asia, Tel ammo or something like that. I haven't had a chance to shoot it yet, but it's not cheap. And from what I can tell, I mean, I haven't heard anything of there being any like real historic background to that company knowing what they're doing. They're just making the stuff. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear how many of you guys were 5.45 fans. Have you shot it? Did you know somebody who has? Did you ever consider buying one? And if you did but didn't purchase, what made the difference for you? It's one of the guns in the GBGuns Armory. Not my only one in that cartridge, but lots of fun memories from it, and a really cool example of, unfortunately, something that you really can't get anymore these days. Thanks for joining us for another GBGuns Armory. This was episode 10, and we'll see you tomorrow.